Welcome back to Invest Global. In today's video, we're on Horseback looking at agricultural land in Baños, Ecuador. I was a little bit far out of the main town of Baños, staying more in an agricultural area. And in this video, I'm just going to be taking you through all these properties, the numbers, and it's very diverse actually. This is, in my opinion, ultra cheap agricultural land. It's very, very close to the US. I'll be breaking down the thesis around Ecuador. There's many properties we visited. This one is actually on the walk. We had two dogs with us up to this property where you had to walk about 30 minutes because there's no road built in, but it's 20 acres and you can buy all 20 acres for around 30,000 US dollars. That I'm showing you right here in this clip, that's actually a tiny property. It's only 5,000 US dollars. It's about 1.5 acres, but it's not in the most ideal location. Now, this is kind of this main road that they took us up. When we were on Horseback, a lot of this area, you would struggle to get up by car. But throughout this video, like I said, there's many different properties I'll be showing you. For example, this one right here is massive, and that's going for around $1,000 an acre. So very, very cheap. Again, there's tons of opportunities here. This is the stuff that I help my private client list with. So if you're at all interested in that, you can reach out to us via the email down below. We talk about a ton of different things on this channel, blockchain technology, which I'm going to be making a video on, kind of how to survive the bear market, long-term thinking for crypto. I've made a lot of those videos in the past, but I plan to continue putting out the educational content in the blockchain space. But I think it's interesting how that space kind of wraps in with emerging market real estates, because essentially what you're able to do is allow the flow of capital to be much smoother with blockchain technology, right? There's not all these kind of government hindrances. And for something like this, I've actually been talking with the guys at Abundant Live in Ecuador, and I'm going to have an interview with them on the channel tomorrow to discuss, these different things in kind of decentralized land ownership. So for example, these properties I'm showing you here today, let's say you're thinking about it and you're going, maybe you don't want to fully run and manage your own farm, but you realize that these properties are selling for as cheap as like $500 an acre in a beautiful, beautiful area. Why not, right? Why not take a part of that? It's interesting because the new president is really focused on being pro-business, and this makes Ecuador an interesting play. There's a ton of things going on here, though, in my opinion, that attract investors to Ecuador, but I do think it's overlooked by a lot of people. I think retirees come here, but I think someone, like myself, who is looking at, kind of diversifying my land investments internationally, hoping to have them, in 6 continents. Maybe one day if you can buy Antarctica lands, I might do that. But I think it's just interesting, an idea and kind of a concept to have kind of smaller land plots around the world where you have self-sustainable type living, and maybe, hey, you rent it out or you have it available for friends and family. This actually here where I'm going to buy on the horse is one of the neighbors of this property, and they're the only neighbors left on this road. And then we kind of walk here where you can actually overlook the city of Baños. So this is, like I said, kind of higher up on the mountains in Baños. So it was a very, very long hike. There's a lot of those plants. I don't know exactly what it is, but we had a guide with us, and I was telling him it's like a spear. And so this whole area, you can actually kind of overlook the town of Baños. It's quite beautiful. And then basically this property, like right here that I'm showing you, this is the one that's going for $1,000 an acre. All of these are set up for agricultural land. Some of them are more like grazing land now, but you can actually convert it. One of the things that I'm interested in personally with agricultural land is using permaculture, kind of using those strategies to not only, obviously use the land for making a profit, but actually kind of giving back to the land and extending topsoil, which is something that I think a lot of people have no idea about, which is topsoil. Topsoil erosion is actually a massive problem globally, but most people don't realize it, right? So topsoil is the actual fertile soil on kind of the upper layer of the Earth's surface. And when that runs out, that's kind of a finite resource, right? So in a lot of places in the U.S., we're seeing this in monocrop culture. So for example, I grew up in Iowa, in the U.S., so in the Midwest, and a lot of the Midwest is monocrop culture. And here what you can do is you can do a ton of different kind of microcultures and grow a ton of different crops. I think there's interesting opportunities for growing things like berries, growing things that have potential legalization effects. Coming soon, you can actually get a marijuana, like cannabis license. There's potential of like growing things like mushrooms that have benefits. Psychedelic mushrooms are different, but there's so many different types. It was like seven times more types of mycelium than there are like plants. So there's a ton of different things you can do here. And I think when you have the space to kind of focus on, okay, what are crops you can grow for profits, that creates for an interesting opportunity. And along with that, most people are just repeating the exact same things here. They're growing the exact same crops they've been growing for, hundreds of years. And tomato, these like tree tomatoes are one they make this really nice juice out of. That was the dog that was with us the whole time on our horseback. And then I'm kind of transitioning here into actually this really long walk up. The one that I said, remember, doesn't have a road to it. So yeah, so right here is kind of that area. But I'm going to continue on what I was talking about with the crop. So essentially, you have a situation where all of the locals just continue doing everything. It's kind of like, this sounds harsh, but it's a bit like monkey see, monkey do, if you will. So just because, you know, this is the way it's always been done does not necessarily mean that's the way we should continue doing it, right? So I think personally, like every year in business, ideally every quarter, you're sitting down, you're going, okay, what's kind of essential and what's non-essential, cut the fat, and then focus on the main kind of driving points of the business, focus on what's making it profits. Yes, there's some like, let's say, tradition in some of these places, but again, if everybody's growing the same thing, you know, those prices are going to get kind of bumped down. And the interesting thing about living Ecuador guys we're talking about is actually growing crops and not even having to sell them internationally for arbitrage. Because when I was first looking at Ecuador and South America, that's the biggest play that I'm looking at is, having something where I can grow the actual, whatever the commodity is, doesn't matter what the commodity is, and then sell it in the U.S. where the prices are so much higher, especially, those organic type of shops in the U.S., like in places like California. It's insane. People will pay ridiculous amounts for, acai powder or turmeric or maca. In places like this, I mean, it grows in abundance. You can get like a big bag of it, like a pound bag of maca here in Peru, where I'm at now. When I recorded this video, I was in Ecuador, but I'm now in Peru. And to here, that goes for like under $4 US. It's crazy. And anyway, so I'm about to get up to the top of this kind of mountain. It was kind of a mess. Actually, it was funny because I was speaking with a family and I had my Colombian friend with me when I was staying in this place. And I was basically telling them, like, I was looking at all these different properties and I was telling them, hey, I want to see this, but they were pointing it to it and it was up in the fog where you really couldn't see it at all. So they're like, okay, but you have to hike up, there's no road. And they didn't really explain to us this amount of hike. I mean, it was kind of a treacherous hike, if I'm being honest, like not the most safe thing, but this whole 20 acres is going for, if I remember correctly, around $30,000 US. Now, in my personal opinion, you can down talk that a lot. Like that is very, very negotiable. Basically, whenever they see a gringo, they are going to double the price. Now, that was after talking them down a little bit. Actually, initially they wanted to say like 60,000, and right off the bat, I basically said I talked with my host, I talked with my Colombian friend, and I just said, hey, can you tell them we want like the actual price? Because that's one of the biggest things I help clients with is if you're going online and you're looking at properties for sale in Ecuador, if you're not working directly with the owner, if you're not there boots on the ground doing the type of things that I'm doing, you really don't get the best deals. So that's something to keep in mind. Gringo pricing is always a factor, and this is quite a beautiful area. It's truly, truly a beautiful view. The problem is the road, and that's where I talked to them about the price. I'm like, hey, this is just crazy to have it listed at 60K. Their son is the one that brought me up, and it's the owner's dogs and everything, and they actually have a small home that's about a 15-minute walk from here. This was one side, and then there's like a little bit more you hike up to, so you can see it right up there. This is the entrance, and you kind of go across. This was actually the worst as far as the mud goes. I mean, I didn't really have boots with me, just because I travel light, and in South America, boots typically you don't necessarily need. In this situation, I was kind of thinking maybe. And this is the kind of the other half. They do have a lot of land here, and this dog was so cute. Oh, I love that dog. He was the one catching rocks in the waterfall. But yes, so. Anyways, all of these land properties, in my personal opinion, are interesting. I can do a video going more in-depth on numbers, but I just kind of want to, when I'm doing this real estate series on South America, make many different kinds of videos, learn as I go. I'll probably make some videos on more analytical, detailed stuff like cap rate, how to evaluate international real estate, dealing with international law, all these different things, and kind of how I help clients with those. That's basically what I'll do moving forward. But this is just a video to kind of show you the thesis. Now, this next thing I'm about to show you is a property that was way, way, way high up. This one was a super, super steep hike. There is no road built into this one, but it's going for $6,000 US, if I remember correctly. And it's at the top of this kind of a hill. There's no neighbors. They do have some greenhouses there, so there's like already infrastructure, and like for me, that's the type of real estate that I'm interested in, where you're able to potentially have it in a decentralized ownership format, and go from there. Also, throughout this video, this is just kind of me rambling. This is one where I just did it in one take. This is this weird kind of warlock owned. There's like the shaman guy that owns it near the entrance. But anyways, like I'm saying, that's just because I'm testing out different types of videos. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date, hit the notification bell, click all, join the Telegram group down below. If you want to work with us, there's a contact link, email down below. Invest Global